Every medication or vaccine can come with rare side effects, which will not be picked up until many millions of people might receive the vaccine. The initial clinical trial with tens of thousands will not pick up rare events. So I think the important thing, to emphasize to everyone is that we have systems and checks and balances in place. But please do remember that over the course of the administration of the vaccine to many millions of people in the world, if there should be any new signals, we will be communicating that after a thorough examination. But science will continue to evolve in this space. Every medication or vaccine can come with rare side effects, which will not be picked up until many millions of people might receive the vaccine. The initial clinical trial with tens of thousands will not pick up rare events. So I think the important thing, to emphasize to everyone is that we have systems and checks and balances in place.
I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna pause it there. We don't need to play it twice. We have systems and checks and balances in place, one of which are the courts. I was very slow getting on the Nuremberg 2.0 bandwagon, but I'm a convert. I have converted to the hashtag Nuremberg 2.0 bandwagon. You're listening to them in real time now. Backtrack like the lying scoundrels that they are. This is Theresa Tam, the Chief Medical Officer of Canada. What's her actual handle here? Hold on one second. Let me bring this back. This is Dr. Theresa Tam, Canada's Chief Medical Officer.
But please do remember that over the course of the administration of the vaccine to many millions of people in the world, if there should be any new signals, we will be communicating that after a thorough examination.
Any new? You didn't look into the original signals of the jibby jab. I mean, this is basically a less eloquent version of what Obama said. Well, we basically clinically tested on billions of people, and we're noticing some problems now that we can't really hide, but we've always told you there were problems with all vaccines, which this is not one. We've always told you that, and if you thought you heard that we said it was safe and effective at preventing transmission, you stupid idiots, that's not what we said. We said it would reduce the symptoms when you got infected nonetheless. You thought you heard us say it doesn't cause myocarditis or it doesn't interfere with women's menstrual cycles. Oh, you stupid idiots. See, you shouldn't even be listening because your ears don't work. What we said is that it's exceedingly rare. Oh yeah, when you thought you heard us say it was 1 in 50,000 or 1 in 100,000, again, look at you with your stupid ears and your blind eyes. We said it was 1 in 10,000, and we were probably wrong on that as well. Dr. Theresa Tam, let me just see what her title is. Theresa Tam. It's Chief Medical Officer, but there's Chief Public Health Officer, CPHO of Canada. Bumbling nincompoops. Liars of the highest order. I just started listening to Alex Jones's The Great Awakening after having finished Hoax, the secret history of the CIA, LSD in the 60s, the Charles Manson murders. I did the first ever vivabarneslaw.locals.com book review yesterday. I hope it wasn't too all over the place because I was simultaneously supervising children and trying to do a book review of something that was intense of a novel. I started listening to Alex Jones's The Great Awakening. It's amazing. And already one point that has stuck with me that he said, when it comes to individual rights, we talk about presumption of innocence. When it comes to constitutional rights, we talk about presumption of innocence. That should be, and rightly is, inverted when it comes to big corporations, ostensibly nefarious conduct, and big government. There shouldn't be a presumption of innocence. Oh, you're doing something that you said was safe and effective, and it's not. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt, notwithstanding everything we know that you've done in the past, Tuskegee experiments, residential schooling, dosing people, MK Ultra. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Wrong. On an individual basis, you get the presumption of innocence. You get the benefit of the doubt. It's called individual rights. When you're talking about big, heartless corporations, and there is no bigger and no more heartless corporation than the government, which has the monopoly of violence. Imagine a corporation with the power to kill with impunity. They don't get the presumption of innocence. They don't get the benefit of the doubt. We should start off assuming something nefarious until they prove otherwise. And do that reverse with the jibby jab, the lies that they told us. Oh, we never told you it would prevent transmission. Yes, you did. Oh, when Albert Bourla tweeted that out on April 1st, he didn't say it would prevent transmission. He said it's 100% effective at reducing the severity of symptoms, which is also a lie, even if we go by that lie on a lie. And we're going to have something of a Canadian-centric first portion of this show, because I'm going to swear I have not had I've had a spindrift. What are these things? 5 calories. That's all the calories you need in carbonated water. I'm going to swear this show because Canada has fallen off the batshit crazy ledge. They've fallen off the batshit crazy ledge and they've landed in the guava. Or is it guava? No, Ghana. Whatever the batshit is. They've landed in the batshit. I spent 20 minutes this morning drafting a tweet demanding, imploring that Justin Trudeau enact fecal destigmatization day, demanding it. And it was hilarious. And it had multiple paragraphs. And then I go to my better half, my wife, and I say, give this a read and let me know if I should hit send. And she got one line into it and said, delete this and never speak of it again. And I said, well, I'll speak of it again only to make the joke. We're going to get into some Canadian insanity because it's beyond what you think is insane. It's beyond, we've been calling people groomers, people putting children in uncomfortable positions that they know makes them feel uncomfortable, trying to normalize that feeling of discomfort, which is a very natural feeling of discomfort when you're taking kids, for example, and plopping them in front of trannies or drag queens or whatever the hell else you want to plop a child in front of. There's a reason, an innate, natural reason for which children feel uncomfortable in such circumstances. An adult trying to normalize a child to get rid of those feelings of discomfort by being placed in situations that are naturally discomforting for a child, that's called grooming. So we've been calling them groomers. We've been calling them monsters. I've been calling them, Dr. Mengele 2.0. The only difference between Theresa Tam and Dr. Mengele is the passage of time. Because I'm thoroughly convinced, you can't repeat a Dr. Mengele. You can't repeat, what was in Japan, Unit 734? You can't repeat that type of human level experimentation. When the Japanese murderous doctors were doing vivisections on pregnant Chinese women, when they, the rape of Nanking, Dr. Mengele, you cannot repeat that type of atrocity, but you can rhyme with it. Oh yeah, no. Look, Justin Trudeau's regime, Fauci, they weren't doing vivisections on pregnant women. They were doing their experimentation on pregnant women in a far more insidious, polite, democratic manner. Alex Jones is certainly proving himself to be more right than wrong. And they just hang their hat on a snippet here and a clip there of stupid things that he said as relates to Sandy Hook, while he was admittedly seeing conspiracy or seeing types of conspiracy everywhere in places where it may not even exist, or at least certain types of conspiracies that don't exist under those circumstances, whereas other conspiracies do. Unit 731, thank you very much. Was biological warfare? Which one was the one where they were doing vivisections on human experimentation? Doesn't matter. Terrible things. You can't do those things anymore. I mean, you can't stick puppy beagles in a bag with flies and let them get eaten to death. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That's what Fauci was doing as well. There are circumstances under which experimentation on animals can be justified, depending on necessity, severity, and the gratuitousness of the torture. But you can't get away with the same type of human experimentation that had been practiced in eras past, but you can sure as hell rhyme with it. And my good God, are we certainly rhyming with it now? And by we, I mean Theresa Tam. I mean Fauci. I mean the CDC. Oh, good morning, everybody. What time? No, it's good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Holy hell. Okay, we got a show today. Trump trial verdict watch. I mean, I'm sitting here with notifications on. And I'm getting an invitation to maybe pop on with Alex Jones later today. For sure. Booyah. Okay, I may pop on with Alex Jones. We're on verdict watch, people. Are we going to be delightfully surprised with a potential verdict or exoneration, acquittal, hung jury? Look, there's a joke somewhere in here, people. This is going to be the only time that Stormy Daniels is going to be unhappy seeing a well-hung jury. There's a joke in this somewhere. I don't know what it is. But I am still very much proud of my joke that the 2 star witnesses of the Trump trial were a scumbag and a cumbag. Terrible, disgusting, awful, insensitive humor, but my goodness, is that funny. Okay, so we're going to get to all of that in due course, and we're going to have a special guest. And if you notice, I've been dragging out the intro just a little bit. It's because I'm waiting for a special guest to pop on, because it's going to merge, marry, couple very well, pun intended, with the first topic of the day, which is going to be the batshit insanity coming out of Canada. But before we even get there, as you may have known, hold on a second, did I? What? I forgot to put the sponsor link in the Rumble. It's in the I forgot to include it when I started the stream. You may or may not have noticed that it says this stream contains a paid promotion. But hold on. Before we even get there, I'm going to add the link to the Rumble side, which it doesn't seem to pop in automatically when you do it through. Okay, there we go. And it's, speaking of all the government corruption and the human testing, and what do people do if you're a little bit concerned about the things that you may have done to your body, as am I. I'm realistic. Everybody out there knows that I took 2 shots of the Pfizer, and I was a neurotic hypochondriac with, it's called thanatophobia, a fear of death. I've had a fear of death my entire life. Let me take this out for a second before we get into the sponsor story time. Like, it's a bizarre thing. If anybody doesn't, like, some people say, they have a greater fear of public speaking than death. Not me, obviously. But I have an obsessive fear of death. Like, that's my biggest fear on earth. What happens after you die? What happens before you were born? Okay, there was a 4.6 billion year period of time. There was an eternity before I existed that I was never aware of, that occurred, and that I'll never experience, or I had no knowledge of that before that. Is that what death is like? Like, do you go off into the infinite darkness of non-existence? Is life after death the same 4.6 billion years of existence that occurred, that I was unaware of, that occurred before me? Okay, I don't know. When I was a kid, story time. It's crazy. It'll explain a little bit of some of my issues. I used to have a sliding cupboard door in my bedroom back in Montreal. And it was like, those overlapping sliding doors, and it had a stupid indented handle. And I would close it, but it would sort of just pop open just a touch. And I would just have to close it. And the idiotic, obsessive, compulsive fear was that if I didn't close it properly, I would die in the night and not wake up in the morning. So every night before I went to bed, I look at it. If I saw a little crack of darkness, close it right up against the seam and then go back to bed. And so far it's worked. So I, might be right. Irrational fear of death. Why did I get to all this? Oh, yes, that's right. Because I've had that before. And then when you go get that jibby jab before you have the slightest consciousness of the risks and harms that could occur. And in a way, I'm sort of like lucky. I checked my batch numbers and there were virtually no adverse events reported. I'm not in the demographic on the lower age of things where I really have to worry about my heart. I'm not in the age demographic at the end of it where I really have to worry about other stuff. And I've always been looking for cancers, tumors. I look at my body and inspect it daily. So all that to say, I've always had that. And what I've done to myself has certainly not aided in that. But at some point, hold on, bringing it back out one more time, people. Hold on. Last time of the day, I promise. Remove. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We cannot do anything. TMI, I haven't even gotten to wait until I start talking about never mind. So before we even get there, there are people who are genuinely concerned about what they've done to their body, and you cannot blame them. And that's where we thank our good people at the wellness company. AstraZeneca recently admitted in court that its COVID-19 vaccine could result in life-threatening blood clots. I mean, some people were wise to this well before. They pulled the Johnson & Johnson in Quebec after a 40-some-odd-year-old woman died of a clot. The Daily Mail reported that, quote, AstraZeneca acknowledged in a legal document submitted to the High Court in February that its vaccine can, in very rare cases, 1 in 5,000, depending on what the issue is, cause TTS, that is thrombosis. I know what this is. Thrombocytopenia syndrome, a medical condition where a person suffers blood clots along with low platelet count. That admission by AstraZeneca is the first of its kind and won't be the last after the damage we've seen these vaccines cause. The question is, if you got the vaccine, what can you do? Fortunately, Dr. Peter McCullough and his team at the Wellness Company have been leading experts in treating vaccine injury and long COVID since early on. And the research has shown that nattokinase, alongside bromidine and I'm probably mispronouncing some of these, circummin derived from turmeric. When I got a sinus infection, all of our beautiful vivabarneslaw.locals.com community said turmeric Viva, turmeric and butter. Jessica Rose said that. And it worked, but my sinus infection might have been on the way out, and I was on antibiotics, but whatever. It has great potential at detoxing side effects. Dr. McCullough notes, out of all the available therapies I have used in my practice, I believe nattokinase and related peptides hold the greatest promise for patients at this time. This groundbreaking discovery led to the formulation of the wellness company's Spike Support Formula, which contains nattokinase, and Dr. McCullough's published base spike detox protocol combines powerful nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin with incredible results in the patient population. To date, tens of thousands of people have followed Dr. McCullough's protocol and taken base spike trio from the wellness company, and they've seen results that they claim is nothing shy of miraculous. The testimonies on the website speak for themselves. Purchasing each ingredient in the Spike Support formula is pricey, but with the wellness company's unique formulation, you save 35%. And if you use the promo code VIVA, you'll save an additional 10%, or you'll save 10% and get free shipping when you go. In Dr. McCullough's own words, quote, "Isn't it interesting? Natural science to combat this mandate disaster. And it is interesting, a man-made virus and a man-made vaccine are both wreaking havoc on unassuming populations. But finally, there's hope. Go to twc.health/Viva, promo code Viva, pick your kit up, 10% off and free shipping. And the link's in the description. I saw something in the crowd, I saw something in the chat. And okay, so hold on. I've actually just got to have something on the backdrop here for immediate updates. Okay, the Trump has restarted deliberation. Okay, so there's nothing there. So also, first things first, Viva Frei. For those of you who don't know me, my real name, it's not a gotcha, people. I'm very proud of my name, David Freiheit. Freiheit literally means freedom in German, Yiddish, Germanic language. I think in like Dutch, it's Freiheit. Freiheit, freedom. Grandfather's name used to be Freiheiter, freedom fighter, but I guess since he fled for freedom as opposed to fought for freedom, although there was no fighting for it, they didn't drop the ER for that reason, but Freiheit. And I used to be a lawyer for like 13 plus years. If anybody thinks I'm just some crazy jackass yelling at a camera, which I might very well be. Two things can be true at once. 13 plus years, sworn in 2007, and I relinquished my bar license only recently because I was paying thousands of dollars a year to hold a license in a province in which I no longer live, solely so that jackasses on the internet can file anonymous complaints because they don't like my tweets critical of the government. We start on YouTube, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And I should have made sure that we're good on all of these platforms, which we are. And we end on YouTube, bring our eyes and our feet over to Rumble, and then we have an after party at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. If you want to support the channel, the ways to do it, there's this way. Ginger Ninja says, communism is the new liberty. Am I right? Well, absolutely. I mean, don't be selfish with your individual rights there, Ginger. It's the greater good. I'm being tongue-in-cheek, and I know Ginger Ninja from our beautiful community. In California, different sign language for men versus women. In Canada, different sign language. Oh, we're getting into Canada, Pasha. Ginger Ninja says, when you did that book review, you were on... my second biggest fear in life, other than death, is LSD. Things that mess with your mind and basically cause temporary insanity, and sometimes it lasts for a long time or forever in some people. Can we start calling Canada Kanakistan yet? Well, that'll get you locked up in jail, says Fried Pie. And then life after death consists of two things: heaven, hell, no purgatory. Sorry, Catholics, says Ginger Ninja. And by the way, just let me get a few of the Rumble rants while we're at it, and then we're going to get into things because we got things to get into. Rivka the Jade Gamer, page 30 of the jury instructions says that a person is guilty of such a conspiracy when, with intent, that conduct says that the underlying crime needn't have happened. If I read this correctly, the prosecution doesn't even need to show that Trump intended to use the unlawful means. The jury just needs to believe that he intended to conceal a potential intent. And then we got Ginger Ninja says, Barnes simps for the Constitution. Viva fears illness and death. I fear loss of the zeal for liberty in the minds of we the people. Many people die, 1 million deaths. All only die once. God, well, I die every time I get into an elevator. Do you know how many people get killed every year by elevators? It's double digits. Okay, that's it. Now, all that to say, we're going to have the little ticker thing here. Everyone should move over to Rumble anyhow. The link to Rumble is pinned in YouTube. And not so that we do anything mean over on Rumble that we can't do on YouTube, but we vote with our eyes, we vote with our dollar, and we vote with our feet, and we support the platform that supports free speech. Speaking of free speech, so we started with Theresa Tam. Oh my goodness. I'm going to play something that it's only a matter of time before it's illegal to share this. This is going to make you laugh your frickin' arse off. In as much as I can double check that this is real, this is not CGI, fake. This is Rachel Notley. She's a member of the NDP, the New Democrat Party for Alberta. I don't know what day it is, but they're flying flags. And it's the 2S LGBTQIA plus, but they're going to have the 2S LGBTQIA plus a little red dot for the menstrual destigmatization in Canada. Okay, whatever. This is Rachel Notley talking about that beautiful flag that they're hanging on government buildings. By the trans community is so oppressed and so unseen that they fly the flag over government buildings, much in the way an invading party would do after they've conquered foreign land. But listen to this and get ready to laugh and get ready to go to jail for laughing if you live in Canada.
Well, thank you so much, Brooks. Now, some of you might not know the origin of this particular flag hanging out of my office window. Ceremonial flags are not uncommon on the grounds of the Alberta legislature and here in Violet King Henry Plaza, in fact.
So, some of you might have missed that flub.
Thank you so much,
that
Brooks.
Freudian slip. Listen to this.
Well, thank you so much, Brooks. Now, some of you might not know the origin of this particular flag hanging out of my office window. Ceremonial flags are not uncommon on the grounds of the Alberta legislature and here in Violet King Henry Plaza, in fact. Well, thank you so much, Brooks.
Oh,
now,
my
some
sweet,
of you
merciful
might
goodness.
not know the origin of this particular flag hanging out of my office window.
And I think I hear someone in the crowd try to correct her in real time. Now, it's all tongue in cheek. I'm only making fun of her because she deserves it. Because she blocked me on Twitter like a year ago, and I can't complain. I'm technically not a resident of Canada, so they're not blocking a constituent. I don't live in Alberta, and I can be a bit of an asshole on Twitter, and I don't blame people for blocking me on Twitter, but I will make fun of them for doing it. It's a flub. It's hilarious. It's almost as embarrassing as when I said Trump instead of Trudeau during my wonderful speech at the protestation of the fight for free speech up in Toronto. It's embarrassing. I expect people to make fun of me for it because it's embarrassing, but that's funny as hell, people. Context-wise, I mean, and the irony is that, when conservatives make a flub that progressives, lefties, Democrats, liberals can argue is the revelation or the revealing of some underlying racial, religious bigotry, they'll do it. They've done it. When they use words that actually have no correlation to any underlying racism or bigotry, I'm not going to say the word because people will take it out of context, they make that argument. This woman had the biggest flub that, if one wants to be an unforgiving a-hole, will say reveals her underlying bigotry and how she actually feels about the people that she purports to represent. Hilarious. I had to share with everybody, so enjoy that. Here's the link. All right, but that's the more humorous part of this. Now we're going to get into some really, really freaky deaky level perversion. It is perversion. Okay, let me get this one here, because it is for those of you who don't know May 28th. I just want to make sure I phrase it properly. Menstrual Destigmatization Day, Canada. I can't even get that word out of my mouth. 2 days ago, Government of Canada continues to advance menstrual equity. I'll read this in a second. So it was Menstrual Equity Day on May 28th in Canada. Menstrual equity. I don't know what the hell that even means, because not all people menstruate equally. In fact, some people, men, don't menstruate at all. Some women don't menstruate either, though they're still women. But it was Menstrual Equity Day, or whatever the hell this is. Okay, before I even get into it, people, let me put on pause here before we have a man explain to us the inequities of menstruation. Hold on. Can someone tell me, hold on. Hey, wait down. Arrête. Can someone tell me what this is next to his name? What language is this? I haven't been able to cut and paste it. It is Mandarin, right? Like, I don't want to be a total ignoramus. Let me just go to the chat right now and see if we've got an answer for that. I'm going to go to vivabarneslaw.locals.com because they're going to get the right answer faster. Is that Mandarin? Let me see here. I'm waiting for it because before I make an accusation, or at least before I ask the obvious question, what language is that next to Terry Beach's name? Oh, hold on a second. Okay, now I'm going to Rumble. Let's see what's going on here. Changes have been saved. I'm just going to go to the chat before I get too far in. Mandarin. It's not Zulu. Come on, people. What is this? I feel ignorant because I couldn't cut and paste to go to Google Translate. No, but I couldn't copy and paste it. Copy and paste in Google. Everyone's giving me. It's Chinese characters, but the Japanese use them too. Okay. Well, I've noticed a number of Canadian politicians with Chinese characters next to their name. Now, I don't know. Maybe Terry Beach is half Chinese, and so it's paying tribute to his heritage, which I would have no problem with. I have no problem one way or the other, but I find it just bizarre because there's a lot of Canadian politicians, and they tend to be liberals, who are putting Chinese translations of their names in their Twitter profiles, and they appear on their Wikipedia pages, which I also find weird. Let me see if our locals got it. I can't tell for sure, but it's not Korean. Looks like Chinese, Mandarin, or otherwise. Okay, good. That's from Joe Mascu and Finboy Slick, who makes the best AI images of me. All right. Now that we've established that, which establishes nothing, let's listen. I mean, first of all, am I able to zoom in on his face? I am. If you wake up in the middle of the night with someone like this looking at you, or someone looking at you like this, or if someone's trying to sell you a car and they're looking at you like this, or if they're waiting to offer your daughters free tampons and they're looking at you like this, you better run in the opposite direction and call the cops as fast as you can. But listen to this. Listen to this. We're going to get there eventually. Terry Beach. Before we go there, he is your close. Okay, hold on. He's a politician. Now I just got to go. Okay, I'm closing it. We're going to go. All right, here we go. Get ready to vomit in your mouths, people.
Hi everyone, Terry Beach, your member of Parliament for Burnaby North Seymour. This bracelet commemorates.
Let me stop here. I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to play it again and not interrupt. This is spoken like a man who's got a proverbial gun to his head. I look back at some of my old videos, and I could tell when I was not confident in what I was saying, or when I was uncomfortable in speaking to a camera. You talk a little bit like this, and you're like, look at him. He's like turtled up because he can't get over he's turtled up. He can't get over how bent over he is. That he's got to come out, point to his bracelet for Menstruation Equity Day. He doesn't want to say this, but he's got the proverbial virtue signaling gun to his head, and he's got no freaking choice. I'm going to let it play, and I'm going to shut my big mouth for however long this video is. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds. Shut up, Viva. Go.
Hi everyone, Terry Beach, your member of Parliament for Burnaby North Seymour. This bracelet commemorates May 28th, which is Menstrual Hygiene Day. Now, there are millions of women around the world who are unable to reach their full potential simply because they menstruate. And so this day is about reducing the stigma. As a father of 2 young girls, I want to make sure that they, along with billions of girls and women around the world, have an equal opportunity that everybody else has. It's also a massive affordability issue. And that's why in all federal workplaces, menstrual products are now available for free. In fact, if you come into my constituency office and use the washroom, you will see that menstrual products are available there as well. So let's end the stigma and commemorate the day and build a better world for our women here in Canada, but also right around the world.
I'm bringing this back up. Okay. Don't start talking, Terry Beach. I feel like I just aged 5 years watching that video. I saw that video yesterday, and I said, again, we're going to get into the realm of the universe where it's going to be a legitimate defense to say, I never said that that's AI, and you think I'd sit there and point to a bracelet and talk about Menstrual Remembrance Day and invite young girls or menstruating girls into my bathroom in Burnaby because I got free tampons in the toilet? Now I'm going to break it up. I'm going to pause because it's the hardest thing for me is to shut my mouth. Listen, I'm going to pause. And I'm just going to tell you exactly what I think at every point of this and why this man should be not just ashamed, he should be shunned. And he shouldn't be allowed in the presence of young girls that are not his daughters. And oh my good, let's go through this. He should not be in the presence of young girls. I just expect him to like open up his vest and have like, you want your tampons? I got some more in the back. I got good ones. Listen to this.
Hi everyone, Terry Beach, your member of Parliament for Bernard Seymour. This bracelet commemorates May 28th, which is Menstrual Hygiene Day.
It commemorates Menstrual Hygiene Day. Commemorations, typically commemorative days, celebrate events, tragedies, or successes. They are commemorating Menstrual Hygiene Day. Could you give it a more disgusting term? You're trying to destigmatize menstruation as if there's stigma around it in the first place. What could be more misogynist than a man? That he's white makes no difference. Than a man sitting down mansplaining to women that they should destigmatize the nastiness that is the beauty of the woman body, because without menstruation, you don't have babies, I guess. This has to be a natural reason why the woman will shed the eggs monthly so that you get the freshest egg for procreation. Who the hell said there's any stigma with a period? You sick misogynist prick.
You know, there are millions of women around the world who are unable to reach their full potential simply because they menstruate.
What the fuck does that mean? There are millions of women who are unable to reach their full potential simply
because they menstruate.
Is that how you view women, Terry? Like, who says that other than a misogynist bigot? Who says that except for the sickest male chauvinist on the planet? What the hell does that even mean? Does that mean like they can't compete in water sports for 3 days a month? Although I think they have workarounds around that. Does that mean like women who don't menstruate can somehow reach a greater potential than women who do menstruate? Is that to say that life and the world is holding them back because 3 to 7 days a month they shed from their ovaries an egg that results in bleeding? It's the craziest thing on earth, but they do this themselves and they put it out there. And then they get mad at you when you get mad at them.
And so this day is about reducing the stigma.
Reducing the stigma. What stigma? The one that you're creating now to stigmatize women for menstruation? Who the hell stigmatizes? Just because you don't talk about it at the dinner table, although I talk about all body functions freely, is there a stigma around, doing duty? To reduce the stigma of poo-poo, we should make Fecal Remembrance Day. This was part of my joke. You're getting the joke now. We should make Fecal Remembrance Day, and we should have a poop emoji flag to celebrate fecal, what was it, Fecal Remembrance Day? No, it was Fecal Hygiene Day. Do you not know how to wipe your butt? Well, this is about providing free tampons to women because affordability is a major issue about tampons in women. What is this jackass celebrating? That Canadian women are so impoverished they can't afford tampons?
The father of 2 young girls, I want to make sure that they, along with billions of girls and women around the world, have an equal opportunity that everybody else has. It's also,
as a father of 2 young girls, you should know that there are some things that are not necessarily stigmatized in order for them to be inappropriate to talk about with the daughters of other fathers. It's inappropriate to talk about certain things with certain people who are not family. That doesn't mean there's a stigma around it. It means you shouldn't be a groomer and talk things about the private body functions with other people's girls, other people's daughters. Oh, okay. It's also massive affordability.
Massive affordability issue. And that's why in all federal workplaces, menstrual products are now available for free. In fact, if you come into my constituency office and use the washroom, you will see that menstrual products are available there as well. So let's end the stigma.
If you come to my constituency and use my bathroom, girlies,
here in Canada, but also.
If you come to my constituency and use my bathroom, I've got free tampons for you, girls. I mean, it's so disgusting. I can't get over it. And like, hold on a second. Is there news? Someone said someone must have something on this judge. Let me just refresh and see if there's any breaking news. Come to my bathroom. I got free condoms. Not condoms. Freudian slip. Well, they're doing that as well, but they've been doing that for a long time. But I got tampons for you girls. That's how progressive I am. And we're going to destigmatize your dirty, dirty period. Oh, you bleed once that's dirty. You don't feel bad about that? You should feel bad about that. And we'll make a day to make you not feel bad about what I just made you feel bad about, that you had no reason to feel bad about, and then you probably never felt bad about it in the first place. I hope South Park has a field day with their and then the question becomes, because I'm married to a woman. I don't know if you know that. And we were discussing this after she talked me out of my fecal Memorial Day tweet. She had some decent questions. Which brings us to our guest of the day, people. This is not a first, but it's a second, or maybe a third. This is my wife. She's the #1 guest in all of Florida, and she's going to talk to us about. All right, just so you know, we're in the same house. We're just on different floors. We are not separated. We are not divorced. But this is going to be funny, and this is a first for Florida. This is Viva and Marion talking Menstruation Equity Day. 3, 2, 1. Marion, how goes the battle, ma'am?
Oh, it goes pretty well. Or should I say good?
You should say, Marion, let me ask you the obvious question. As a woman who menstruates, how does it feel looking at that? I mean, this is a sincere question. I don't want to make a joke of it. I feel fearful for young girls across the country to see that dude sitting there talking about menstrual equity. How did you feel when I showed you that?
I can't believe that that's real. First of all, he's sitting on the stairs, which to me is the definition of mansplaining. Not that I talk much about mansplaining, but he's sitting on this. How can they not at least have a woman talking to us about menstrual day or whatever day it is? He's sitting there. Oh, the whole thing is so cringe. I can't even.
Marion, just so you know, I ordered us 20 bracelets for next year. What was it called? Menstrual.
What day is it? May 28th?
It was May 28th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but now you asked some questions, and I won't pry too much because I know the answers about female hygiene or female menstruation. But you asked some legitimate questions, some of which were borderline conspiratorial, and others were totally logical because you have more experience. What were the questions that you asked, Marion?
I wanted to know which products they would be providing for free, and where did they get these products, and are they the recommended products that people should be using these days? And we have someone at the front door.
Who's that? Who's getting it?
Am
I
someone there?
Okay, I'm closer. You keep going.
I'll tell Mila.
Someone's at the door.
It's her friend.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, keep going.
It's good. Today's the last day of school, so I went to pick Mila up from school, and she said, "Can I have a friend or two over?" And I said, "Sure, I'll pick you up and your friend." She shows up with 7 people.
It's a good that Volkswagen Tiguan with the 2 seats in the back is proving to be invaluable. Marion, we're going to demystify the woman's menstrual cycle right here, because I know this having grown up with a mother, and there are different types. There's pads, there's inserts, and then there's
inserts.
The things that go up, the applicator.
I am not arguing that we can talk about menstrual cycles more, and that people can be educated about it, but that guy sitting on the stairs telling us that now he has free, and that the part that got me, women cannot reach their full potential because of
because they menstruate,
and that giving us free pads is gonna solve.
Marion, okay, I have one question though. Does it hurt when you have your period?
Does it? Well, I mean, everyone's experience is different. Some people have more painful menstrual cramps. Are we getting into this?
Well, my joke is
I'm pretty lucky. I do not. Everyone's cycle is different. Cycles are typically 28 days. Are we getting into the biology too?
Well, my question is, so you are shedding an egg in the blood. That's what it's shedding, the lining of the inside of the ovaries, the uterus.
Yeah,
and then it sheds the lining.
For a baby every month, and you would release an egg, and the egg, if it is not fertilized, everything gets released.
Well, that
And
is
it
kind of
takes
gross.
anywhere between 2 and 5 days to shed the lining, and the lining is made up of
tissue, blood.
to many different
No, but hold on.
not just blood, other things.
What is the word for the tampon that has the inserts with the applicator?
It's just
That's a
called
tampon. Okay, then you get a pad, and then there's other things. All right,
Yeah,
but
they
Mary,
also have this thing called like their little cups. So I'm wondering if we're giving these away. And then it just collects throughout the day, and you don't have to. This is too much. This is my second on the show.
there's the cup collects the stuff, and it's reusable, and it's better for the body. Because look, I know this growing up as well. I had a sister, and my mother's a neurotic. If you thought I'm neurotic, and then one of the things we were brought up with was toxic shock syndrome. The stories of women who forgot they had a tampon in, put another one in, and then the one that absorbed all the blood caused basically not encephalitis, blood infection. What's that called? Toxic shock syndrome.
Yeah,
It's called.
you can grow back. Yeah, it's anything that has blood and can have some kind of bacterial growth. So yeah, I think growing up, that's probably the education that we got is don't leave your tampon in for more than 8 hours, and everyone like 8 hours in 1 minute, like, oh my god, I have toxic shock.
Well, okay. Now, I've never even thought about the quality difference between tampons like made in China. Are they good face masks, or are they the potentially toxic face masks that they're asking you to insert into your body? What the hell? So what are they giving at these?
So I'm sure I haven't really looked into it that closely recently, but there are many different types of brands. And one thing that I would be skeptical about, or something I would worry, is if they're using these, they have, so with one thing I know is for sure with toilet paper, they've started making different types of toilet paper. And toilet paper, you can imagine, is something that gets very close to your body. And if the toilet paper has toxins in it, then it can enter your body. And so if you're something you're using every day, so like a tampon, what kind of products are they using? And so with toilet paper, I heard that they started using like recycled toilet paper, not recycled toilet, but they're using recycled products like paper to make what they would call a greener type of toilet paper. But in fact, they're using some that might have more toxins because they're using whatever types of recycled material, and
Well, give it.
plastics, or who knows? It's just,
Man, you talked me out of my fecal remembrance or fecal equity day, but now we're going to get into it because I use a lot of toilet paper because everyone knows about my medical stuff. I'm going to be concerned about that. I want to get the bidet thing because apparently that's much better in all respects. Maybe we'll get you put it on top of the toilet seat and it'll spray water.
probably that's what they use in Europe, right? Like,
yeah, well, they also pee in holes in some places in Europe. But okay, Mary, and then you asked who gets the contracts, and that's where I know that I've done my job.
Oh, you did your job?
No, in terms of making you cynical, who gets the contracts? How much are they going to cost? Is it going to be an $80,000 tampon app that's going to balloon to $50 million? Good contract. Their friends will get good contracts to import cheap Chinese crap and toxify women's private parts.
We don't know. That is the question. That's something that I wouldn't have thought of before. Maybe the last 2 years, let's say.
And now cue the Jack Nicholson meme. Yes, Mary. All right, good. What are you drinking? Is that the cold brew?
It is. It's pretty strong. I think it needs to be diluted a bit more. I was going to start talking really fast.
All right. Well, before we, do you have any more on the periods that we should talk about? Stigma.
Well, I think that it really needs to be talked about. He said women cannot reach their full potential. What that mean? What are we educating our children? Is that when you have your period, you can't reach your full potential? Albeit it is maybe a distraction, like throughout the day, but it's not that we can't reach our full potential. And so I think I would call that misinformation.
Misinformation, but okay. It's it's misogyny is what it is.
The whole thing is pretty wild, but I think at the end of the day, it is important to educate people about this.
Well, that's the question. How much typically does it cost for tampon stuffs for a month?
That I don't know, but like maybe $20.
Okay.
Maybe. So please send women across the country $20 a month and let them decide. That's kind of like what they're doing in some states in the US which is this totally different topic, but in Florida and in Arizona, and I think maybe a few others, they're starting to do things with homeschooling where they're taking money that they would otherwise provide to educate your kids in the public school, and that you can request these funds so that you can decide how you want to educate and how you want to spend that money.
You
So
know,
I'm curious if they could just do something like that.
Yeah, or I think under the CARES Act in America, their tampons are tax deductible. It seems that in Canada, they're not tax deductible, but they don't collect the full government sales tax on tampons. How about just make them tax deductible? Keep your receipts and you get to deduct that from your income at the end of the year. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
All
There,
right, now,
not easy.
now, show the book, and I'm going to put the link in for the book. This is not a sponsor.
Talking about education.
Speaking of education and the female biology, because your book does confirm that the woman brain is half the size of the man's brain, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. If you flip to page 55, I will special reference to the... That's not true, but women's brains are different, and that gets back to the fact that in terms of education, women and men have different hormones, and our hormones are very important for regulating our behaviors. And this book doesn't talk about how estrogen and testosterone and different female hormones and male hormones affect the brain, but it's an introduction to how the brain works. And so we have two books. These are books that I started making when we moved to Florida. I collaborated with my friend and colleague. I don't know if this works. Maria.
Okay, hold on right there. Hold on. Maria Zamfir.
Oh, I can't go.
Yeah, there you go. Zamfir. PhD and Marion Van Horn.
She's done all the. Wow, my brain's not working in terms of the camera and knowing which way to go. She did all the illustrations, and she did these illustrations throughout her PhD to help explain complex neuroscience topics. And so in the first book, which came out last year, it's all about how the brain works. And so there's different types of activities and coloring pages and explanations. So why is it important to keep your brain healthy? What is a neuroscientist? And it comes with different coloring pages. And we start introducing different neurotransmitters, neuromodulators like GABA. And so she made this cute neuron called Lady GABA.
Look, I've always been amazed at how the neurons look exactly like a bolt of lightning, and in a way they function in the exact same way. And tell me why that's scientifically accurate.
Let me get to the page that what is a neuron. So is this the bolt of lightning?
Yeah, like some lightning.
Some lightning.
Yeah.
A neuron has an axon here, a cell body, dendrites, and then a synapse. And the synapse is where it releases neurotransmitters. And to release neurotransmitters, there is a change in electrical activity. So if, as a neuroscientist, you can record the activity of individual neurons, and they have a resting membrane potential, and changes in activity, there'll be a little change in their electrical activity, which will cause a depolarization of the cell, and the cell will release neurotransmitters at the synapse, which then go to the next neuron and binds to receptors. So the neurotransmitter binds to receptors. That will also cause a change in the cell and change its membrane potential. And so we say it's like a chemical that binds to receptors, like a key that unlocks a lock. And so there are many different types of neurotransmitters. They all have their own specific receptor. And so these are just basic principles that I think everybody should know about the brain and how it works. We go into some detail about synapses, synaptic buddies.
Now that you mention it, though, and for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the book Chaos that you have been listening to as I listen to it on phone. What do things like LSD and drugs do to the brain?
Well, they mimic some of the neurotransmitters and they bind to receptors. So you'll have a receptor like, let's say ketamine, because that's one that I would probably know more about. So ketamine binds a receptor called the NMDA receptor, and it blocks it. So NMDA receptors is an excitatory. Oh, you missed the explanation.
Yeah, sorry, the dog had to come in.
I was saying
I'll watch it again later.
Ketamine, which has been in the legal news recently, is one of these drugs that binds to a receptor called the NMDA receptor, and it's one of the most common excitatory glutamatergic receptors in the brain. It binds and it blocks it. So normally you would have glutamate and this other molecule, either D-serine or glycine, that binds to this receptor. And with activation, normally it would open and close. And when it opens and closes, you get different ions like calcium that pass in and out. But if it's blocked with ketamine, then it can't perform its regular job. What are you laughing at?
Reminder: this is Viva Foreplay after the meals. Marion. Well, never mind.
There's a really good book called Brain on Fire that talks about NMDA receptors, and that's something that I studied in my postdoc research.
And still,
and so it acts a bit like schizophrenia, and schizophrenia that is thought to be as a result of some dysfunction in the NMDA receptor, or one of the theories. And so this book, Brain on Fire, was about a journalist who started to have these weird kind of psychotic symptoms, became very paranoid. Someone thought that, some of the doctors thought that she had schizophrenia, or that she was in her early 20s. And then it turns out it wasn't. It was that she was actually producing antibodies for her NMDA receptor, and that was causing her to have these symptoms. So she was basically, her body was basically rejecting her own receptors. So it's a good book. After the Brain, and the second book is that we just put out is called How We Feel, and it goes into more details about touch and pain. So how our nervous system works in terms of our sensory system.
Here, I'm giving everyone the link to the book in Locals, and I gave it on here. And in Locals, Locals had a question. Stillwater said this. Anthony Huberman was just talking about this. Andrew Huberman. Why do I say Anthony? No, it is Anthony. Okay.
No,
Stillwater.
Anthony. It's Andrew.
It's Andrew Huberman. I think I must have poisoned the. Stillwater asks, what can we do to reduce our risk of dementia? Is it hereditary? I think the second question is yes, it's hereditary to reduce the risks.
That's a good question, because there is a very small component that's hereditary, but I think like 75% of it is lifestyle. So it's really about back to basics, eating,
exercise, socializing.
well, exercise, like increasing blood flow to the brain, staying mentally active and socially active, like meeting with people. And there's a really big component that's like social interactions. And
let me piss off a lot of people, Marion. Also, eating meat is good for the brain, correct?
I'm not going to comment. There are many important nutrients in meat. So, but
we're having a barbecue
different
tonight?
types of meat and you want to avoid processed foods. So if you're going to be eating a lot of cold cuts and things like that, that's not the same as eating a grass-fed steak.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why when I send you to the butcher, it's not for
not for bacon.
And also the same with like any meats, like chicken and pork, whatever you're eating. It's important to know a little bit about where the animal came from, because you're eating what the animal was exposed to.
That's something that I've never even thought of until like the antibiotics jabbed cows and the chicken that I never even thought of. I always just thought protein was protein, and things get. I'm so stupid, Mary.
Well, the meat is going to be quite different. This is something I've only learned recently too, is that the meat's going to be very different depending on what the animal ate. So if the animal was exposed to its normal grass-fed diet, versus it will have a different levels of omega-3s, which is a very important, let's say, nutrient for the brain. So omega-3s, you can find it in high quantities in fish and certain nuts, olive oil, and then it's also in meat, but depending on the type of meat. So it's not like all meat is created equal.
Someone had asked here, I want to bring this one up, and then hold on. The screen has gotten here. Here. Okay. Can Marion confirm that sugar is bad for your brain and can cause dementia, Alzheimer's?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I can confirm, but yes, it is definitely, some people call Alzheimer's like the type 3 diabetes. Sugar is a huge problem for the brain, like in terms of overconsumption. A little bit of sugar here and there is not going to kill your brain, but they're showing that type 1 or type 2, pre-diabetes is like skyrocketing. Obesity is skyrocketing, and these are all really not good things for health in general. So anything that's good for your heart is probably also good for your brain. It's all connected. So definitely, someone said you are what you eat. It's for sure. We're eating as a population a lot more processed foods, a lot of sugar. The processed foods, they add a lot more sugar.
Did I show you the picture of the ingredients of the Monster energy drink, the big cans? They contain 120% of your daily sugar intake in one of those big cans. And I know we've been getting obsessed about this with the kids and the Starbucks coffees, not the Starbucks coffees, the Starbucks, what are they called? Refreshers?
Well, any of these drinks, it's something that I've noticed since we've moved to the US is, and also not maybe the US, but maybe to the suburbs, is we're driving a lot more. So you're passing all these fast food stores or fast food restaurants. And yeah, we were stopping at Starbucks 1,000 times more than we were before. And you think like, oh, a drink here and there. But then I was listening to this, I think she was a pediatrician. She says that she's seeing a really large increase in pre-diabetes, even in kids that look healthy. So kids that may not be obese, but they have high insulin levels or high blood glucose levels. It means that even if they've been not eating anything, their glucose levels are still very high. Just suggesting that there's too much. And so what she was explaining is that a lot of these teenagers, they're going from school and they're going straight to Starbucks and they're getting a large drink every day, even though it's just the accessibility is much easier to pick.
And it's a fun routine when you pick them up from school and you do something.
And you think you're exercising and whatever, but these drinks, they're just like hidden sugars, and it doesn't even need to be that much. These drinks, they could be half the sugar. So I think instead, I'm like reading your title, liberals, fixated on the menstruation. We really should be fixated on fixing our food.
These things, these stupid drinks, they have 1 gram of sugar. Is it 1 gram? Yeah, 1 gram of carbohydrates, and that's all you need. I did the bubble tea with the kids the other day, and we got half sweet, and it was still sweet enough.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's see if In Locals has got any more questions for you. What's the best diet to reduce the risk of dementia? Ask Stillwater Keto.
The diet stuff is so difficult. There are so many different diets out there. And I don't think you can come up with one. Some people do really well if they really need a dramatic change with keto or paleo or paleo, I guess. But I think at the end of the day, what makes you feel good, what gives you energy,
steak.
It's typically balanced. Lots of fiber. It's really important to have lots of fiber, omega-3s, as much. It's the balance between omega-3s and omega-6 that are important. Our diet typically has a lot of, or at least in North America, has a lot of omega-6, which is in the seed oils and things like that.
The STFU, he's not telling us to shut the fuck up for fuck's sake, but that's his name. Those frappuccinos have thousands of calories and literal ounces of sugar when human really shouldn't exceed 50 grams of carbs a day. It's insidious. We don't do those frappuccinos. Those are ridiculous. And even with the Tim Hortons in Canada, they're the iced coffee, it's insane. But those just the refreshers, and you ask for like half sweet, and it's jury instructions to menstrual cycles. Well, we're gonna get back to jury instructions in a second. Let me just see if there's been any in Rumble. Ginger Ninja says, I'm calling it side effects of government provided tampons will end up being miscarriage, infertility, and birth defects, population control. Calling it. Ginger Ninja is 1 degree more cynical than me. That doesn't mean he's wrong.
Are they giving? Oh, I guess it's already free contraception. Like birth control is already free in Canada, right?
Yeah, they got. That was their biggest talking point. Also, they're going after the kids and giving them condoms and talking sex.
Well, that's the other thing is, you don't need parental consent to be prescribed birth control, or after the age of 14 or something.
Yep, and birth control is another one that's a big topic. But maybe we'll save that for Marion and Viva episode 2.
Maybe.
So I shall see you in the book again, people. Hold on, do I have the link to the book? Amazon, the brain coloring book. And we can do this and we can take questions. Maybe we'll have this as a Locals exclusive. We'll turn it into there's Big Brain Barnes and there's Big Brains Mare and then there's Thanatophobia Viva. Is that a dog or are those the kids that I hear?
I don't know.
That's the kids. I heard something mewling. And also,
Oh, I have to go get the other kids.
Yep.
Last day of school today.
last day. Oh my goodness.
You'll see me in 2 months.
Let the summer. It's everyone loves kids, but when you have them 24/7 for, we got 2 months of kids at home now.
Mm-hmm.
I may have to go into the local studio daily. I'm joking. I'm not going to. We're just going to live with it. Okay, Mara.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. Steak barbecue. We're going to do a barbecue tonight.
I think we have like 12 people here for dinner tonight.
That's even more of an excuse for a barbecue. Okay.
How do I leave? Okay, I see.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Bye.
All right, people. Now let's get back to politics. Okay, so that's my wife, and that was the joke about the tampons. She's like, I never even thought about the fact that you need to worry that you're not putting cheap Chinese crap up your vajayjay, and the idea that who would get the contract. We have lived through an era of corruption and government lies and expert lies, and we are now all the wiser for it. That was fun. What do we have here? Over sugared menstruations greater than jury de-instructions. So I think we're going to move into whatever the latest of the day is on the jury instructions. She's way too smart for Viva, says Uzelian. We all have our strengths and weaknesses in this world. She's the calm one. Yes. Everyone has their yin to their yang. Okay, what we're going to do now, people, I think it's time we can get off YouTube and go over to Viva Frei on Rumble. I'll give everybody the link there, Rumble, or come on over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com, and we're going to have our after party. Has there been any breaking news, people? We'll go over the theories. This is for locals. We'll go over the theories, the latest, the instructions, the rubbish, the nonsense, the takes, because I go and I pick everybody's brain. Knowledge is the gift that once given can never be taken back. And I like gifting myself the knowledge of others and even the wrong information from others, so I know who to trust and who not to trust on a going forward basis. But come on over to Viva Frei. You're not going to come over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com for $10 a month, $100 a year. You get tons of free, good stuff. I'm joking. I don't even know if this was directed at me, but okay, let's go. This is locals one last time, and let's see that number drop from YouTube. And we'll see what happens. I'm going to go on with Alex Jones at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I don't know if it's a Twitter space or... Ooh, my new glasses already also. That's good. Okay. I don't know if it's a Twitter space or it's going to be on with Alex Jones at 3 o'clock. I think I'm going to be on with Jones at 3 o'clock. So did Mershon make jury instructions available to the public? People are citing pages, but he didn't. No, he couldn't have given them to the public because he said he wouldn't give written copies of the jury instructions. Anyhow, we're going to get into all of that over on Rumble. One last time here, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Locals and Rumble. And we'll see what happens. I mean, it's an amazing thing that they're still deliberating. And it's an amazing thing what that judge has done in terms of jury instructions. And, we're at the stage now of not even find me the man, I'll show you the crime. It's find me the man, and who gives a flying fuck if there's a crime. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. Sorry for swearing. Viva, hold the phone like a man, not a girl with fingernails. I think I'll hold my phone. I hold it so that I can read the Serenity Prayer every time. All right, let's end this here, and we're going to go over some of the hot takes over on Rumble. Do it. Let's do this. Boom. We're out. Ending. Oh, and I'm on Twitter as well. I forgot about that. Okay, so ending on Twitter. Number 1. No, I don't want to view on Twitter. I want to end it on Twitter. Hold on. Sorry about this. Okay, we're going to go. Ending on Twitter. Remove. Okay, good. Remove. Now let's see this. Now we're going to end on YouTube. Good.